This is a critical review of formal and informal assessment measures in education. This is the required identification page. My name is Dan Bolton, and I'm a teacher at the Forber School at Linden Hannah More campus. I'm currently taking EDTR 261 at the Community College of Baltimore County, spring 2019. Today we're going to answer these questions. What is assessment and why do we use it? Who creates and uses assessments? What are the two main types of assessment and how are they similar or different? What are some examples and uses of assessment measures? And what are the pros and cons of each type of assessment and assessment measure? First, we have to define assessment. Assessment is the process of gathering information to monitor progress and make decisions. Assessment evaluates the three domains, the affective, psychomotor, and cognitive, and it can be formal or informal. Why do we test? To make decisions, to look at progress or placement. It's required under ESSA and IDEA, diagnostically, for selection. But it's important to remember in education, all valid assessments support teaching and learning. What does where does assessment happen and who does it? Assessment can happen in many places. Most often you'll find it occurring in schools, and you'll find it happening in commercial testing facilities. Formal assessment is a data-driven process. It's a type of assessment that has been given to many students over a long period of time and has statistical support. It's also known as norm-referenced and standardized testing, and it allows for comparisons against age and grade level groups. Often it's summative in nature, and it's required under current education law. Examples of norm-referenced standardized assessments include the SAT, the GRE, the Woodcock-Johnson tests, the Kaufman test, the Burggrants inventories, PARCC, and some district and commercially produced assessments, and a whole lot more. There are some benefits of formal testing. Testing items are often aligned with national or state standards. Large-scale testing of the assessment tool for reliability and validity occur. There's specific administration and scoring protocols that are very important to follow, and that helps ensure validity and reliability. And you can compare the results of students on the school, district, state, and national levels. There are some concerns with formal testing. Often it's only summative, and the results can take a long time to come back. It may not reflect topics taught during instruction, and it's not specific to a classroom. There's the chance of cultural or socioeconomic bias. It can be costly, and high-stakes testing causes teaching to the test, which may be detrimental to the depth of instruction. Students may not be familiar with the testing format as well. Now we're going to talk about informal assessment. Informal assessment refers to tools used to measure progress that are content and performance driven. These types of assessments may be formative or summative in nature. You can see some of the examples below, including curriculum-based assessments and teacher-generated assessments. So teacher-made tests and teacher-made criterion reference tests. There are research data supporting the use of these as an effective method for measuring progress. They fall under a continuum of no acquisition of knowledge or mastery of the criteria. So they're practical and has social validity. They're adaptable to many areas, but they're prone to errors on the test maker's part, and they're found to only test for knowledge on Bloom's taxonomy. There's infrequent use of essay items. Some additional informal assessment methods include the checklist, questionnaire, and work samples or permanent products. You can see some of the pros and cons on the table. Next, we're going to talk about performance assessments. They allow students to demonstrate content mastery through the production of a product. It uses several levels of cognitive processes and levels of reasoning. Some of the cons include there's a lack of effective training to use this method, and there's a lack of psychometric evidence showing which domains it actually tests. Next is the authentic assessment, and students demonstrate their knowledge in a real-world setting. It requires a disciplined production of knowledge and provides opportunities for collaboration with others. Some of the cons include that it may use considerable time or materials, and it requires specific settings to create the product. The next thing we're going to talk about is a portfolio assessment. Some of the pros include that it provides a long range of assessment data from multiple artifacts, and it may show growth and achievement over time. Some of the cons include that it takes a lot of advanced planning on the teacher's part, and it takes a lot of time to summarize the results. There are several benefits to informal assessment. It can be specific to a particular student, classroom, school, or district. It allows for monitoring of the achievement goal for that school year and under current educational conditions. It allows for testing knowledge of content taught during instruction. It produces faster results than a formal high-stakes assessment, and it can be used for planning or adjusting instruction within a unit. And it may be criterion referenced with a curriculum or the IEP of a student. There are some concerns with informal assessment. There's issues with reliability and validity if it's not properly created or administered. Small sample sizes can lead to bias, and the assessment tools are not always rigorously tested for cultural or socioeconomic bias. They may not measure creativity, interest, or original ideas as cited by Overton 2016, and it may not adequately address the needs of students with unidentified disabilities. Here are some resources for educators: the What Works Clearinghouse, the DIBELS Data System, and Ames Web. In summary, assessment is used by educators and related service providers to make decisions about instruction and student placement. Both formal and informal assessment are both valid tools for measuring the abilities or progress of students, and a combination of both types of assessments and different methods and tools should be used when important decisions are to be made. And remember that assessment can only provide a snapshot of a student's abilities at the time it was administered.